Can you tell how many different passing techniques exist in FC26? If you're guessing around 15 to 20, then you're completely wrong, because there are 34. Yes, 34 different types of variations, and if you're surprised by that count, then there are some variations that you're missing out. In this video, we will show you every single one of them and how to execute them properly. Let us start with the normal passes. These are the simplest passing techniques that you can use during the game, and they will be affected by the playstyles tiki-taka and ping pass. You can target the player with your left analog stick and press your X or A button to send a ground pass. This pass is intended directly towards the player's feet, and that's the most common passing technique. Make sure there is no one between your passer and your target when you're going for a ground pass. If the defender positions himself correctly between the passer and your target, the ground pass could be intercepted easily. Lofted passes can easily solve this problem. All you need to do is to double tap the passing button rapidly, and you will see that your player gives the ball a little height instead of a normal pass. If you want to create movement right after the pass with your initial player, the 1-2 pass is the next thing. To execute it, hold L1, LB and pass the ball to your receiver. After that, watch your initial players run. I usually use 1-2 pass whenever my current player has some potential space ahead of him to explore. Watching him run after the pass and rewarding that run with a good pass is going to be the key. This passing method becomes incredibly strong if you combine it with other passing methods. The driven ground pass is a much stronger version of the ground pass. To be able to send a driven pass, hold on to your R1, RB button and power up the pass. In certain tight situations, this pass can help your receiver to get the ball much faster, and with that you can create the opportunity you need. Therefore, it could be risky but also very rewarding. And as mentioned, combining those both could be very useful, and the driven 1-2 pass is a super example for it. Your player sends a strong and accurate pass towards your target, and right afterwards starts running forward to create space for himself. To execute it, simply hold on to your L1, LB and R1, RB buttons together and power up the pass. Another good combination is the lofted 1-2 pass. If you don't want your normal pass intercepted but still go for a 1-2 pass, hold on to your L1, LB button and double tap the passing button. The ball goes high and your initial passer runs forward. You see, even the 1-2 passing has some variations within, and if you try to execute everything you learned in this video at once, it could quite become a mess. And in our in-depth tutorial on the Guide Plus, we show you how to balance your passing game and use correct movement and passing mechanics at the correct time. That tutorial is a part of our complete attacking course, so if you want to improve yourself instantly in the attacking game, check the links in the description. Ground passes seem to be clear whenever you need to pass the ball directly at your player's feet. However, sometimes you need to pass the ball towards their running lane, and this is where you work with the through balls. Especially if you have runners in the space, these will allow you to receive the ball without losing any speed. Point out the direction your runner is heading to with your left analog stick and power up the through pass with your triangle or Y button. In case someone tries to anticipate this passing lane and tries to cut off the route of the pass and let the runner run in behind the defensive line, you can always chip the ball over them towards your player's running lane with a lob through pass. Watch your players run and observe if the opponent is anticipating it. If not, hold on to your L1, LB button and power up the through pass. Rewarding your player's runs in behind a defensive line like this is super important. Another through pass variation is the lofted one. Lofted through pass can also easily dodge a defender's interception and get the ball towards your running lane. Double tapping the triangle or Y button will allow you to execute it. It is incredibly strong when your opponent is confident about intercepting the ball, just because they stand in the middle of a normal passing lane. Super strong when you're about to deliver the ball inside the box. You can manually aim where the through pass goes with the precision through pass. Hold on to your R1, RB button and power up the through ball. The more you power up, the distance that the ball travels becomes longer. In the meantime, you need to aim the direction precisely with your left analog stick. The assisted through balls might not exactly end up where we want them to, but the precision through pass is very helpful with it. If you already know where your player is heading and the space you've got, then try to get the most out of the precision through pass. Finally, the driven through pass could be very useful in wider spaces. It is faster and stronger compared to the normal one. It can be executed by holding on to both L1, LB and R1, RB buttons and powering up a through pass. If you see a runner who has a lot of space ahead of him and may receive the ball in longer distances, you can go for a driven through pass and allow him to receive the ball in further spots closer to the opposition's goal. During your passing flow, you will sometimes need to pass the ball to a direction you are not facing, and this is where Flair passes become real handy. To execute a Flair ground pass, hold on to your L2, LT button while passing. With the extra animations, these will allow you to go for one-touch passes that can't be done with normal passes without controlling the ball. Same goes for the through balls. Instead of sending the ball directly towards the receiver's current location, you can send a Flair through pass towards his running lane. Simply hold on to the L2, LT button before powering up the through pass if you need a special animation. There is the option of using them with the Lob Passes as well. Hold the L2, LT button and power up a Lob Pass towards a closer teammate. You will see your player go deep into the ball and lift the ball up high, and you might also pass around like this continuously. Moving on to the Lob Pass section. Again, the long ball play style is going to play a huge role here. By only using the square or the X button, you can achieve a lot of things. Especially when you face pressure, using a simple Lob Pass will allow you to break the pressure easily. If you want your lob pass to get even higher, which can be very useful for the players who have an aerial advantage, you can hold on to your L1, LB button before going for the lob pass. This high lob pass will give the ball more height, and your taller players receive an advantage over the smaller ones. Driven lob pass on the other side does the exact opposite. Your pass loses height but gains speed, which can be very practical if there's no one between your passer and your target. To be able to use it, hold on to your both L1, LB and R1, RB buttons together and power up a lob pass. Using this method while switching sides is super effective. It allows you to get the ball towards the other side rapidly, and you can increase the pace of your build-up even before the defense settles. Similar to the through passes, the lob pass could be also executed in a precise way. Hold on to your R1, RB button before going for a lob pass in the same fashion. The manual aim allows you to exactly pinpoint where your lob pass ends, and with that, you can both dodge defenders who are pressuring at your passer and receive the ball safely. Guys, I need a short break and catch my breath because it has been 18 methods and we're only halfway there. And in the meantime, if you want to thank me for the self-torture of editing this video and discover even more important knowledge about FC26 at the same time, check out our individual coaching services. I could even become your personal coach and show you how you can become one of the most dangerous players out there if you're ambitious enough. Check the links in the description and start your training right away. Alright, let's continue with the rest. When you execute the lob passes around the opposition box, these will become crosses. The whip pass playstyle can give an extra curve to these. That means you have to take a look at your target, decide how much power you need to give to your cross, and finish the opportunity when the cross gives you an advantage. Same as in the previous sections, the crosses have also different variations. The high cross, which is performed by holding onto the L1, LB button while crossing, lifts the ball up high. This will decrease the chance of the ball getting intercepted. If you want to pinpoint at your cross, you can again use the precision variation and hold on to your R1, RB button before crossing the ball in. Identifying your target's movement and carefully aiming with your left analog stick will do the trick. Where you have the opportunity to get the cross higher, there will be also the opposite. The driven cross, which makes your cross go lower but faster, helps in certain situations. I find this method very useful when I explore the wing to make a cutback and my winger on the other side makes a cut inside the box. Hold on to the L1, LB and R1, RB buttons together and power up the crossing button to get it faster and more accurate towards your target. If you don't want to make this cutback, the low cross is a huge mechanic which sends the ball towards your target on the ground with a curve. To be able to execute it, you need to double tap the crossing button. I find this cross very useful whenever I approach the box from the side with my winger and my striker makes his move towards the goal. With the little curve the low cross has, your striker only needs to do the finishing touch, and combining both of these variations creates the ultimate weapon for me in FC26. The low driven cross has the accuracy of the low cross and the speed of the driven cross. All you have to do is to hold on to your L1, LB and R1, RB buttons together and double tap the crossing button. However, be careful because the aim of the low driven cross is pretty much manual. That means if you aim carelessly with your left analog stick, you may never reach your target. This could also become a huge weapon since you're able to choose the player who receives the ball with your left analog stick. Instead of locking the cross simply on one player like with the low cross, you can decide to go for another teammate if you aim it correctly. My personal favorite, super strong this year. Swerve on demand allows you to have an extra curve with your ground, through and precision ground passes to create a new passing variation. Incisive pass playstyle plays a huge role here. Holding onto the L2 LT button and powering up a normal pass with more than 2 bars of power will allow you to go for an swerved ground pass. Depending on your player's ability to curve, this method will give the ball another path towards the receiver. You can also use this method with the through passes. Hold on to the L2 LT button, point out the running lane of your attacker, and power up the through ball. This method works incredibly well with the wingers. If you want to pass the ball towards a winger but you are not sure if the ball is going to be intercepted or not, try to give the ball an extra curve with the swerve on demand. And finally, combining a couple of methods, swerved precision through pass. It is going to be a bit harder than the swerved through pass, but being able to select the exact point where your through pass is going to land will give you the upper hand. Hold on to your R1, RB, and L2, LT together, power up the through pass, and in the meanwhile, select the exact point of your desire. You will need some extra practice to get used to the mechanic itself and the practical usage. Coming to our last section, the outside the foot passes, which could be only executed with the players with the inventive playstyle. The general idea of this method is to avoid the player's weaker foot and only use a stronger one. If you have the ball towards your player's weaker foot and don't trust it, you can hold on to the L2 LT button while passing and use the outside of your strong foot instead of the weak one. It works the same with the through passes, and it might also give the ball some curve. Holding on to the L2 LT button and going for a through ball while you're not facing the side of your strong foot allows you to go for an outside through pass. Using this can create many opportunities without having to switch your feet and lose some time. You can also use the outside the foot passes in long distances. Switching sides is incredibly fast and accurate with the outside lob passes. Holding on to the L2 LT and powering up a lob pass towards the other side will allow you to execute this. Same goes for crossing. If you're about to cross the ball in with a player with the inventive play style and have the ball towards your weaker foot, try to cross the ball with the outside of their foot, hold on to L2 LT and power up the cross in. The two variations from the crossing section also works with the outside the foot concept. So if you have a player with the inventive play style and have the ball towards your weaker foot, hold L2 LT and double tap the crossing button for the low cross that will just arrive at your player's feet. And if you want a faster and stronger version, which is the outside low driven cross, hold on to your L2 LT, L1 LB, and R1 RB buttons together and double tap the crossing button. Make sure you aim correctly with the left analog stick. And finally, outside lob through passes. This passing method allows you to avoid your weaker foot and add a little curve towards your pass, but also lift the ball towards your player's running lane, which creates a very unique passing opportunity. To execute it, hold on to your both L1 LB and L2 LT buttons and power up a through ball. Looks special, doesn't it? Well, that was a quiet rundown, and now you know every single passing in FC26. Do you also want to learn how to play tiki-taka combining some of the passing techniques you'll learn here? Then definitely check out the video that appears on your screen right now. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Until next time, take care and peace.